Watch enough fights and you're bound to have witnessed your fair share of stunning knockout moments. But even the most committed of you fight fans is going to find more than a few shocks in this video. A few knockouts that leave you totally speechless. Here are the greatest 1 in a million knockout moments caught on camera. To kick things off, we have a dose of total chaos, courtesy of this Muay Thai fighter who managed to somehow rip up the playbook on scoring the KO. Not only did our hero fail to land his jumping head kick on his opponent, but he also vaulted so high through the air that he flew over the top rope, knocking himself out when he hit the floor outside the ring. A self-KO is just about as rare a move as it gets, and while we obviously can't give too much praise to the guy who pulled it off, it's hard not to be impressed by this one. This next one was just all hands. And if you know anything about Gokhan Saki, you recognize just how lethal this dude is with his combinations. His ability to just keep a string of punches going and going. He worked the body shots, the uppercut, and by the time he geared up for that final death blow, the commentators were already writing his opponent's obituary. No one does it quite like Gokhan Saki. Getting your kick caught is always going to happen from time to time, and obviously, it can put you in a tricky spot. But I don't think I've seen a fighter capitalize on a caught kick better than this guy. Sweeping the leg out from underneath his opponent, he follows through with a huge knee that clatters into his opponent's head as he is already falling to the mat. There's no coming back from a shot like that. A very crafty piece of ingenuity on display. This next one is without question one of the pound-for-pound hardest left hooks ever thrown inside the boxing ring. A previously competitive showdown between Bob Foster and Mike Quarry ended with an absolute hammer blow from Foster, a left hook that seemed like it was thrown by a heavyweight. Quarry hit the deck immediately, and yeah, it seemed like he was out for quite some time after this shot connected. This shot is often cited as one of the cleanest in boxing history, and now you know why. This is one accurate counter-spinning back elbow, a blow that found its mark with rapid impact. They say the hardest shots are the ones you don't see coming, the ones that catch you totally unaware, and despite putting together some solid work at first, this elbow turned his victim into total jelly, nailing him right on the off switch to end his night for good. The spinning elbow is a high-risk move, but when you see it pulled off like this, it makes you wonder why everyone doesn't throw them. A regular roundhouse kick is already one highly powerful weapon, but jumping into one brings with it the type of power that will either knock your opponent out stiff or get you in some major trouble from the counter shot. Well, as it turned out, this guy managed to time it perfectly, not only adding major momentum to his shot with the jump, but he also used his opponent's own force against him by timing it perfectly to counter his massive overhand right. A wonderful display of fight-ending technique. There's something about the impact of a heavyweight head kick that just kind of feels different. The sound they can make are often more of a low thud than a high crack, and this next example is just about as mean a thudding blow as we could get our hands on. This powerful headshot sounded something like someone smacking their face off concrete. It was a brutal but elegant final blow. This dude hit the canvas like a sack of potatoes. Absolutely zero follow-up shots needed. Undeniably nasty stuff. How often do you see someone set up a spin with a fake spin? Well, if your answer to that is never, then you need to check this next KO out. Though it was an amateur event, this kickboxer showed himself to have a truly masterful feinting game when he totally duped his opponent with his first spin. Surely no one would follow up a fake spin with a real one. That would be far too insulting, right? Well, as it turns out, that's exactly what happened. And boy, did it look pretty. We're dealing with a lot of huge shots coming upstairs. But for here, we're going to give some shine to this masterful body shot, courtesy of the great Stefan Leko. Taking on the former fighter turned MMA coach Henry Hooft, Leko span into this beautiful spinning back kick to the body, crushing the midsection of his opponent for the instant KO. Look, we love a good knockout blow up top as much as anyone, But we don't discriminate when it comes to body shots. There's just something particularly fierce about one as good as this. You know we love a mean combination on this channel, but even by our lofty standards, the quality on display here was out of this world. A slick left hook shot rips the body before the head kick follows swiftly on the same side. Seriously, this combo was so quick in delivering a pair of strikes from the left that we don't even blame his opponent for not seeing it coming. Some major veteran skill on display, that's for sure, and it really does take home a 10 out of 10 when it comes to style points. There's nothing quite like a good comeback, and for this Muay Thai fighter, to say that he was in trouble would be putting it lightly. Outgunned by his opponent and fresh off a pair of rough knockdowns, the crowd knew that a finish was coming. What they didn't expect was for this downtrodden fighter in the blue to pull off an insane jumping head kick, flattening his opponent instantly for a brutal knockout victory. That dude was out cold, in the most painful meaning of the phrase. Julian Jackson was in some real trouble coming into this fourth round. After sustaining an eye injury that threatened to derail the fight, it seemed as though this famed boxer was running out of options. Thankfully, Jackson just so happened to be one of the hardest pound-for-pound hitters in the history of the sport. And when it connected on this shot, boy did he land clean. Power like that truly is the great equalizer. And sure enough, when Jackson found his mark, he didn't need to follow it up. Another scintillating spinning back elbow comes in next. This time, one that was almost thrown with an added level of venom, as this dude made a note of his opponent's own attempt at the technique and tried to punish him for it. That takes some real stones, doesn't it? To look your opponent dead in the face as they try to back elbow you, and then hit them with that exact technique just seconds later? This one is all kinds of cold. The ultimate insult, a slap in the face, that came with devastating force. Being a master of the clinch can open up so many different strikes in Muay Thai that it becomes a lot easier to catch your opponent off guard. And after getting a hold of his adversary here, this dude simply swung him off balance and proceeded to knee him on the chin, catching him totally off guard for a masterful KO shot. An impressive piece of creativity from this fighter. Another sick jumping roundhouse kick comes in next. A technique that looks like it's been ripped straight from the pages of a Bruce Lee script. This one was all about the timing, how he catches his opponent defenseless, bouncing off the ropes in the perfect position for this ideal kill shot. Not all head kicks are created equal, folks. The blue fighter here was in a real tough spot. Dazed, hurt, and totally counted out, it seemed as though he was headed directly for a crushing knockout loss. And as his opponent moved in for the final blow, it looked as though all hope was truly lost. But that's why the spinning elbow is among the most lethal weapons in combat sports. The ultimate equalizer, capable of rendering even the most commanding fighters totally unconscious. This was a special one, take note you guys. It rarely gets any better than this. Of that, there is little doubt. Some insane work in Sanda comes in next, as this fighter manages to thrill the crowd with one of the most perfectly executed spinning hook kicks known to man. This is the type of usage of this rare kick that makes all others look weak by comparison, to be honest. The setup here was flawless, and the spin itself was totally seamless, and as soon as it landed, there was little to no hope of the fight ever continuing on. A truly brilliant piece of knockout artistry. How about we take a look at the former kickboxer turned UFC sensation Alex Pereira next? Getting kicked by a guy this powerful is like eating a baseball bat straight to the dome. Getting a flying knee, though? That's a different story entirely. Unfortunately for his opponent, he was made to experience both. The kick first, and then the brutal follow-up knee that ended his night. We all know that Alex Pereira is one of the scariest men on the planet today. But this highlight reel finish really does hammer that message home. The absolute worst knockouts are the ones that leave their target face down on the canvas, as they fall flat on their belly due to the impact. And yeah, there's no other way to say it, this one was all kinds of bad. Landing with the kick just before the bell rang, this buzzer beater brought its victim's night to a very sudden and incredibly violent end. A highlight moment worthy of anyone's reel. Combos don't come much cleaner than this one, folks. This guy just decided then and there that he was about to enter flow state, and when he did, the results were absolutely devastating. The precision he showed when ripping the body and how he segued directly into an attack upstairs before finishing with the kick? Yeah, this was one nasty piece of combo work, the type of skill that only a proven master can bring to the table. You won't see a better spinning back fist than this in any sport, mark our words. The momentum was very clearly on the side of Kevin Van Ostrand as he moved in to finish his dazed opponent. It almost looked like he was getting sloppy with his technique as he hunted him down. But then out of nowhere, it all came together. This was no randomly thrown back fist. No, this dude had the setup in mind, and he made sure to really gauge the distance correctly, landing with pinpoint precision. A brutal shot.